All right, we are live Tuesday Night Live, uh, family edition. Maybe I don't know what we would call this, kids edition.
Youngsters edition.
But we have a good friend of ours coming on too, Billy Barnett. So we'll give people time to hop on here. And I'm asking Billy, are you on your way, my friend? So with us are two very special guests, and I'm not including Mike in that. He is at the top. I guess when people see it, they'll see it's the top. At the top beside of Mike is the oldest Collins son, well, in Mike's family, Caleb.
Mm-hmm.
How old are you, 10, 11?
9.
You had to think about it. 9, okay. And then at the bottom here, we have John David Allen. John David, you're 10, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then we're adding to the stream our good friend, Billy Barnett.
There he is. Hey, Billy.
Billy, you're on here. Oh, okay. He's muted. He's fixing his. You can see why Billy's such a good turkey hunter. He's very precise. You see this?
He's on it.
So I don't think Billy knew he's going to be on here with a couple kids, but Billy's their inspiration, right? Kids and Billy, you're on mute, by the way. Kids, you're looking at a guy that has killed a turkey in every state in the United States. Did you know that? John David, I think your dad was telling you about that maybe, or you guys were talking about the different turkeys across the country?
Yeah, my dad told me about him too.
Yeah, he's a celebrity, so you're in the presence of greatness, my friend.
Billy,
how are you, man?
Doing good. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
So we're starting the show, Billy, with a couple of successful youth hunters here. That's Caleb at the top. That's Mike's son. And John David Allen. That's John Allen's son that's on here with us a lot. Now, John David, your dad couldn't make it. He's in England with his job. Are you worried he's going to come back with a funny accent?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so? I don't know. Do you think
sir.
does he know how to speak England? What do they speak over there? Do you know?
English, I believe.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So he should be good. He should be good. Yeah. All right.
Just
So
testing
listen,
you guys.
both of you guys, I think, John David, you went hunting on Saturday morning with your dad, and you said by 7:20 you had your first ever turkey on the ground. Is that right? Tell us about it.
Around that time.
Yeah.
I was not expecting to get a turkey that early when I was just ready to go out there, have a fun time. And then we had to walk half a mile down this trail.
Yeah.
And then when we got into this field, and my dad told me after that he saw a hen way down there, but right when we entered the field, it just ran away.
Yeah.
So we sat down by this tree around the middle of the field and put up one of the fake jakes that we have. And around 10 minutes later, we used a box call, and we heard one very far away. Then it kept getting closer every time we used the box call again. Came closer and closer until we saw it in the field. We had to be very still. It walked, and then it was actually running because it wanted the hen that it was hearing from the box call. And then I pulled out the 20 gauge shotgun, was using a game mode, and I shot it in the head and it hit the ground.
Game over. Game
Yes,
over.
sir.
That was a great description. You know, John David, I used to be a teacher, and one thing, you know, around your age, you got to write portfolios and do like personal narratives. I think you have your topic, my friend. I think you can write a story about that.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, I just did one of those today in school.
Oh, nice. There you go. Look at me. Hey, listen, if anyone watching has seen John Allen on here, and he's a very good friend of ours, this is like looking at, you know, those filters that make you look like a child. I feel like I'm watching John Allen with a filter on. Like, this is identical. Like the perfect mini-me. Like Caleb, I mean, he acts like Mike, but like I don't know, Mike, does he look more like your wife, Caleb?
Everybody says he looks a lot more like I do.
Okay, I'm bad at that. So
no, you're good.
But anyway, like that is a miniature John Allen. So
It is. It
John
is.
David, that was perfect. Let's hear. So Caleb on Sunday got his bird, also first turkey ever. Both of them killed their first animals ever. John David's already eaten his. I don't know about Caleb. So Caleb, you heard John David's account. Now give us your story. Yours is a lot similar.
So we got there late and we had to set up in just a random spot. We walked to a random spot.
So your dad didn't have a plan?
No, we did not. So.
Sounds like I did at the end, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. But
oh, that's great.
We heard turkeys down this way, and he just sat down. And we tried to get all of our stuff ready, but all of a sudden they come out right in the field, and we were not ready, and they kind of ran. But then my dad said, we're going to go to one of the spots that I've killed turkeys at a lot. So we went there, took a little while. We heard some turkeys, and then I'm watching NBA highlights.
Who's your favorite NBA team or player?
Devin
Booker. Oh, look, I nailed it. I knew it. He's probably mine too. I knew a Kentucky guy. All right, so you're watching NBA highlights, and what happens?
So we hear drumming and spitting from behind.
Can you do that for us? What does that sound like?
I don't know.
You don't know? That's okay.
I like that.
There you go.
That's what we heard behind us,
man. That's one of the coolest things about turkeys, I think.
My dad kind of looked this way, and all of a sudden the turkey starts going.
Oh, that's good.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that wasn't a good thing, was it? Was it,
No.
Billy?
No.
No.
What happened after that?
So they kind of ran. I think they ran down the hill, but then after that, a turkey on our left started gobbling. And then my dad started calling to see if he would come in the field, but he wouldn't. And then one turkey ran out into the field. It was too far for me to shoot it. And then it just ran right back into the woods.
Oh, man.
So then we see 3 gobblers come around the corner. And I was still on the gun. They came straight into the decoys. 2 kind of swept off. One was sitting there strutting. Shot. Fell. I got him.
Started flopping, yeah. So both of you guys, it just took one shot and you had them, right?
Yeah.
Well, with mine, I shot it. It fell on the ground, but it just kept on moving and stuff. I wasn't using a turkey load. I was using a game load. So we had to cut its neck because it wouldn't stop flopping around.
Yeah. Your dad sent us a video, and I had to cut some of the video out so we wouldn't get kicked off of Facebook because it's kind of graphic.
Yeah.
Congratulations, guys. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Caleb, what kind of call was your dad using?
Box call plus a mouth call.
Plus a mouth call. Yeah, he's running both.
We used the Harold Knight special that he gave me down when we had our interview. I used that call, and then I also used that box call that I just put together.
Yeah, awesome. Well, fellas, we are so proud of you guys. If you're watching this, can you just let John David, and we've already got a ton of people saying they're proud of you. Can you just let them know how awesome this is? Not only, guys, here's the thing. Billy Barnett here has killed hundreds of turkeys. Mike's killed dozens, maybe 100 turkeys. I don't know, Mike. He's killed a lot.
Well, not that many, but
guess
several.
what? They never got to come on a show and talk about the first turkey they killed. So how awesome is that? So, and look,
nice.
you guys, your dad sent us videos to post on Facebook. They have thousands of views. Both of them have over 10,000 views. So you guys are kind of like weekend celebrities here. How's that feel?
Feels really nice.
Hey, Caleb, you were watching Devin Booker highlights, but people this weekend watched Caleb Collins highlights of the turkey hunt. How about that?
Yeah.
That was a good video. I liked it.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
They were excited. They were
Really
emotional. Yeah, I loved it. Yeah,
When I first shot the turkey, my dad was more excited than I was.
I could tell.
He was like,
Yeah.
whoa!
I was kind of.
Other hunters probably could have heard him from like a mile away.
That's okay. I act the same way, and there's nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, listen, fellas, we're so proud of you. You still have another turkey you can kill. So tell your dads. Well, I know, John David, your dad's going to be gone till May, so he might miss out on that. But you got that was what I was so happy about. I knew he was leaving for England, and you guys got it just in time. I was so happy that he got to do that. That's probably why he was so happy too. So yeah. But all right, fellas, we appreciate you guys, and come deer season, when you kill a deer, we'll have you back. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
Be excited.
You guys are free to go. It's probably past your bedtimes. Maybe it's spring break. I don't know. John David, I know it's not spring break for you. So
It is
That's
for me,
spring break
though.
a long time ago.
yeah. All right. See you guys. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Good job,
Thanks,
guys.
CJD.
How about him just working that iPad, getting off? You know how many people go to get off the show and I just sit and watch them down here. No one else can see them but me, and they're just sitting there like poking around. They can't leave the show. So, hey, those are great kids, man.
Oh, thanks.
Great kids.
Yeah, JD's awesome.
Yeah, about the same age. Both got it done. Billy, what do you think about those kids?
Seem like old pros on here.
I know. Like their dads, I tell you.
Yeah.
What about Caleb saying, just a random spot? Dad didn't have a plan. I knew when I asked him that he was going to say no, so I had to.
Yeah,
he just set me up, man.
he did. He did set you up. It's kind of funny. We got to where we were going. We were heading. We had a gobbler that was gobbling kind of toward a cemetery that was not on my uncle. It's a cemetery right in the middle of the woods. It's not on my uncle's place, so we didn't go after that bird.
Yeah.
But then there were two birds that were right on the property line. We're allowed to hunt the neighbor's place, and I knew exactly where they were. We got to that spot, and it's this little field that's in between a little holler, and then it's a kind of an open woods over here, and they were up on this holler. And when I call it the roundabout because we have a roundabout right there before the other property begins. So I was going to set up in the roundabout right there. I sat down and I was starting to get, I could tell they were gobbling. They were super close. We were, probably within 50 yards or less of their roost. And for whatever reason, I don't know if it's because I wasn't paying attention, but I don't remember hearing them fly down. And I was trying to get, Caleb can't just grab the gun and like pick it up and get ready to shoot. I was trying to get his tripod out.
Yeah.
So I had him holding the gun, just kind of holding it like this. I was kind of fiddling with the tripod, trying to break it down and getting it set up. And all of a sudden I look up and the birds are like right in the field, 20 yards, right in the gap, ready to be shot. And it's like, dadgummit.
Yeah.
So, if we would have been 10 minutes earlier, we might have been able to set up and get a little bit on them. But
you guys were surrounded though.
Yeah, we were, man. And it's good lessons, man. We learned some good lessons. He did. Those turkeys were, 20 yards, and he just like moved his hand down the gun. I guess he got tired of holding the gun.
Yeah.
So he moved his hand, and the turkeys kind of saw that movement a little bit. And, they gave a couple plucks and then they kind of moved off, but they didn't fly. They didn't freak out or nothing. Fact is, we just waited a couple minutes, and a hen was still over on our right side. She was kind of calling a little bit. And then that other bird toward the cemetery was gobbling off someone else's property. And just like 10 minutes, I wanted to make sure those birds got away from us so we could move on and go to where we wanted to go. And all of a sudden they started gobbling again. So I was like, dude, they weren't bumped that bad. Let's move on. Let's go up there. Since that hen was down there on that opposite side, I was like, those guys kind of broke off. Let's go up to that ridge and sit down, and we'll just hang out for a while, call a little bit. And they might think that she has moved up there and they're going to circle back and come up. So we went to a spot that I've killed many birds from, killed my opening day bird there last year. We got set up in right on the field edge, up against a tree. I got everything set up for him. It got quiet for a little bit. We had a lone hen decoy out. We had an Avian X hen decoy lookout hen up, and that was it. I thought a single hen might be pretty attractive to gobblers right now. So we had that out. It got quiet until all of a sudden on another property, some birds got going. So I actually just got up and I went out in the field and I started walking around and I started calling. I used a box call first just to get that sound out there. And then I started using my mouth call and I just started walking around the field to kind of mimic that movement around. But lo and behold, it was probably 30 minutes later, almost probably close to 9 o'clock. We were sitting there. He's like, Dad, I'm ready to go. And it's like, man, there's birds gobbling just off in the distance. If we can just hold off, I think they're close enough to hear us. I think they're going to end up showing up eventually. So I handed him my phone and he turned on some YouTube NBA highlights and he was watching dunks and bloopers and stuff. And all of a sudden we hear drumming and spitting right behind us. So some birds moved in and they didn't gobble. They just came from behind us and they were like right there. And he's like, Dad, we heard the drumming and spitting. He handed me my phone. I set it down and I just went like this. I just gently went like that and a bird kind of saw me. I mean, I was moving slow too because I knew they were behind me. But one kind of saw me and then those birds moved off and then all of a sudden one to our left gobbled and he was close. So it's like we got a bird here, a couple birds behind us here. And, I started thinking the bird from the left was going to go ahead and start coming because he was close. So I started calling. He answered. I called again, answered. I called again, answered. He was fired up. And then all of a sudden, some gobbles down the ridge where I think those other birds moved off. They came back out on the ridge. And I guess because this bird was gobbling and I was calling, I don't know if they just forgot what happened. And all three of them came around the bend. And I mean, they just slowly made their way all the way across the field. And finally, we talked about the whole scenario. I said, man, I was whispering to him. I was telling him that if they're not separated, don't shoot until they're separated. And we talked about that a lot. And finally, as soon as they got up to the decoys, I was nervous because the gun rest earlier in the morning, he didn't like the gun rest being so loose. And so he had me tighten it up. But as one of the birds got super close to the decoy, and that's when I said, once it gets to that decoy, that's when we're ready to take that shot. And he's whispering to me, Dad, I can't, it's too high. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm starting to panic because this bird's like right there, dude. And finally I seen kind of force it down a little bit. He kind of pushed hard on it. He forced it down and, the two other birds kind of started walking away and then his bird started strutting. And I just said, put that red dot on his neck and squeeze the trigger. And man, as soon as he did, that bird just folded, flopped maybe 2 or 3 times. And that was it. That 410. 410. Yeah. But it was awesome. He did. He had a ton of emotions. As soon as he stood up, I grabbed the gun and set it up against the tree and he stood up and he immediately started crying. Just like he was smiling but crying, and it's like I grabbed him and just bear hugged him and stuff, and just told him how proud I was. I will never forget that, man.
That's awesome,
cool. Man. It was cool.
I'm so glad you guys were successful.
I appreciate it.
So, Billy, we had some questions coming in, and while the kids were here, I'm guessing they were for Billy though, and not the kids. Asking about decoy setups and stuff. So I don't think Caleb and John David would have been able to answer that. They just said, hey,
they both got their birds.
Jake. So. Yeah, we had a fake bird, a fake turkey is I think what John David said. So
I love it.
Billy, how old were you when you killed your first turkey? 2?
It was 1997, so I was 17 years old.
That's cool.
Really?
It took me a little while.
You were much younger. Yeah. Hey,
I started younger, but I hunted for about 3 years, I guess, before I got my first one. So
so we say, look there, boys, you can be the next Billy Barnett.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're ahead of me for sure.
They're ahead of me.
Hey, I got a question. I just thought of this when I said 2. And Billy and Mike, you guys do not have to weigh in on this. I'm not going to say anything. So, but for the people watching, I think it's a great question. What do you guys think about the photos that we saw over the weekend with 3-year-olds killing turkeys? I've seen a lot of conversation about it. I'm just curious what people think. I don't know. I saw a couple pictures. They're like, hey, my 3-year-old killed this turkey. They were shooting a 410, but that's a 3-year-old. I'm just curious what people think. I saw some different dialogue about it, and I'm all for getting kids out there hunting, so I'm not saying anything one way or another. Yeah. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there, see what people thought.
I'll tell you what, I wondered myself.
You did?
It's just I kind of wondered what's the youngest Samoans that actually killed a turkey.
Yeah.
And there's some 3-year-olds. I'm sure they're more than capable of shooting one, especially with like the rest that you were talking about. I took that for my daughter for her first bird, and I mean, if you can line it up and put the dot on their head, I mean, that's pretty much it. So if they're ready to go, I'm all for it. So whatever the kids and parents want to do. So
having a 3-year-old out there, I'm as long as it's safe, I'm all for that too. I'm just wondering about what's the line of doing it for them versus them doing it, and who pays attention to that line. I don't know. My daughter is 9, and she's just now got to where she hates using the gun rest. We have like an actual, instead of the tripod, we actually have like a rest that holds the stock in the barrel, and where she can just swivel it. She hates it. So I gave her just like a Primos shooting stick. She hated it. She's like, "Daddy, can I just hold it and shoot it?" I'm like, honey, that's hard. But we didn't get to go Saturday, but she was nailing the target. So I was like, "Hey, if you can do it, do it." So I don't know. But anyway, I just want to know. I know that was kind of controversial. I just wanted to see what people thought. But let's get to Nathan's question. Nathan says, Nathan usually watches on Facebook. He's watching on YouTube. I'm all for that. We need more followers on YouTube. Billy, you've killed a turkey. You've completed the U.S. Super Slam. What states are on your list this year?
Well, I've got quite a few. It just seems like every time I look up, it keeps getting longer.
We would be disappointed if you didn't, Billy.
Yeah. I've kind of been just hitting the weekends so far. Made a trip to Florida, and I did take off Monday for that. A buddy of mine went, and we hunted Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and then came back. So this past weekend, I went to Alabama with another friend of mine. Didn't have any luck. Had a great time, got on some birds, but that's the way hunting is. So just stayed. We were going to stay till Monday, but they were giving storms and stuff for Monday, so we thought, well, we'll just head on back and save another vacation day and roll it on into another state later. So, but next weekend, I would like to go somewhere this coming weekend, and I looked at North Carolina. It's not too bad of a drive. But they're already calling for quite a bit of rain down there for Saturday and Sunday, and I don't know if I want to. I know I can't go back after this weekend, so I don't know if it's worth the money to go down there and hunt in the rain, or try to. So, but after that's kind of when the next weekend after that's kind of when it all kicks off for me. Me and Matt are going to go to Tennessee on Kentucky's opener, and then hunt down there a few days, and then I'll come back to Kentucky and hunt here, and then. After that, I'm headed out west on a western trip, and not really sure how many states I want to hit out there, just whatever time allows, I guess. So
well, Billy, one thing, I don't know if we talked about this last week. We talked about it recently. How we were talking about you. We talk about you a lot this time of year, and all good things, right, Mike? All good things, and. One thing that just really just ticks me off is when people are like, must be nice to be Billy and have all this money and all this time. Can you just kind of tell everyone what you do for a living? Because, these high winds and these storms we've had are not helping your turkey season, I imagine. Just fill everybody in on why, it's not as easy as people think it is. You don't have it made. You're not living a luxurious lifestyle.
I'm actually on call right now.
There you go. So he might get caught out. If a tree falls on the power line, Billy's gone.
We got some weather coming in too.
I know it. I'm dreading it. So it seems like every week, we get another windstorm comes through. So, but I work for the local utility company or electric company, and it seems like we've been pretty busy this year and last year. But
and they don't just let you off to go turkey hunting. You gotta really not only budget your money, but plan your vacation and PTO and all that around turkey hunting.
Yeah, I was actually in Alabama Sunday, and they called me and asked me if I'd come back to work. I mean, that's how it's. So they're it can be hectic sometimes, but yeah, I save most of my vacation, quite a bit of it, and roll it over and save all my days that I can, and save it up for the turkey season, and try to make 3-day weekends. That's something that's helped me more than anything. Usually the states like South Carolina, all these bordering states, you could make a 3-day weekend and have a really good time.
Yeah.
So
Kentucky's the perfect state to do this from too, because like 6 hours you can be in a lot of states.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I always thought about that. If you lived in Florida or Maine or California, I mean, it would be a nightmare. So,
Mike, we got a question there. Give it to Billy.
What does Billy think of using locator calls like crow or owl calls versus just locating turkeys with turkey calls? What are the pros and cons?
Good question.
Great question.
I normally do not use locator calls. In first thing in the morning, I like to let them wake up on their own and do their own thing. I know people are successful using them. That's just my personal opinion. I feel like I'm kind of, and maybe it's just in my mind, but I feel like that it's a little bit different than what they are used to every morning. So personally, I don't use them. I have used some in the past. I'll usually carry a crow call with me or an owl call, but very seldom do I ever use it. So
yeah, I think part of that's just it's fun.
It is. I love hearing them gobble.
So. Getting that shot gobble, yeah.
So you don't know how much it factors into success, but it's fun.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you only got 3 weeks of it. If you're only hunting one state like Kentucky, you only got 3 weeks of it. So, you're just like, I'm going to hear as many gobbles as I possibly can in those 3 weeks. And I guess you hear them before season 2, but you can't do any calling. So, now, Billy, we've talked about this a lot on the show, and just me and you, in conversation about all the different ways you're able to hit states. Sometimes you've hit, I think as many as 7 states or like 14 states in 1 year, but you've hit like maybe 4 in a day. I mean, you got some crazy things, and some of it's public land, some of it's working with landowners. Jeremy said, how often do you, or I guess as far as the Super Slam, how often did you pay for outfitted hunts? I don't remember you ever really talking about outfitters, maybe once or twice.
Yeah, my very first trip to Florida, I did pay for an outfitted hunt there.
That's what I was thinking. Florida was the one where, yeah.
Now, usually what I would do if I was paying for a hunt, I was just paying for trespass fees to hunt on private ground, which is my favorite. I really enjoy that because you still got the luxury of just doing what you want and hunting on your own, but you don't have to deal with people coming in on you and stuff like that. And it kind of, it does, you do have an advantage. Usually the person you're paying to hunt on the property, they can tell you where they see the turkeys, where they usually roost.
Right.
So you've got to, and there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, I was limited on time to go and do what I wanted to do. If I could save a day, I mean, it was worth it to me to pay somebody. So,
yeah, absolutely.
And
even if you are just a strictly public land hunter, sometimes to get where you want to go, you got to walk through somebody's yard or park in their, their not their garage, but their driveway. So, I mean, there's always obstacles, and you can overcome some of that with sometimes just conversations, but sometimes slipping somebody a little money, it helps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I pulled over a lot of times. If I would be driving I remember in Minnesota when I hunted there, I actually went to public ground to hunt. That's where I started at.
Yeah.
And my wife was with me on that trip. We heard gobbling like crazy across the road. And and we never heard a bird on the public land. I told her, I said, I'm going to find out who owns that. And next thing I knew, I had permission to hunt and was on birds. So
there you go.
I just adapted. If I didn't have anything going on, I'd move somewhere else,
Yeah. My brother and I hunted a few years ago, opening day at Peabody WMA in Western Kentucky. And I had been out there prior to that, and I'd seen tons of birds on the private land right across the gravel road from where we were hunting. And but the people that own it don't live there. So it's, you know, I couldn't just go knock on their door. And so I was like, there was, oh gosh, where we were hunting, there was a truck parked every 10 yards. Yeah. And it was our first time being there on opening day. And I'm like, man, if we could just get on the edge of that field and get one to come in. We never did it. I was like, we could just flirt with the boundaries a little bit. But, you know. Hey, Mike, you were out this weekend. It was pretty warm. I don't know who this was, but they said, any ticks yet this year? Have you seen any?
Yeah, you know, I've been seeing people posting on Facebook that they've kind of had a few on them a little bit, but so far I've not found any on me or Caleb in that case when we were out on Sunday. So I've not seen any yet.
Yeah, I guarantee there are, because back in February, when is it was mid-January is the end of Kentucky's deer season, right?
Yeah.
But back in January, the week before the last weekend of deer season, I was in Scott County, and I was just kind of looking at this new place to hunt that I discovered, and I was going to put a camera up there just to see what I could find. It's still there, actually. Batteries are dead. I hope no one took it. It's a cell camera. But anyway, and the game warden, one of the game wardens was there, and I just kind of pulled off, and I was looking, and she was asking me about hunting there, and we were talking, and she had just picked 5 ticks off of her in January. It was just a warm day, and I'm like, holy cow, I hate those things. So I guarantee, depending on where you are, there are people with ticks on them this weekend. I didn't see them. Let's see what else we got here. Billy, I want one reason, you know, we'd like to have you on every turkey season, but one thing that you're doing this year, and I want to see if I can grab a picture of it real quick, is now, and correct me if I say anything wrong here, but you're trying to complete a Grand Slam this year with just using a handgun. I want to say a 44 caliber. I might be wrong on that. Tell us about that, because
that's right.
Really cool. Just a really cool change up. You know, I guess like the regular Grand Slam for you is just boring now, so you have to change it up a little bit.
No. Actually, I think I've told you guys before, I collect VHS tapes, turkey, and you can probably see them right here behind me. I think I've got close to about 400, and they're all turkey hunting. And I didn't realize there was that many until I started collecting them. So, but one of my favorites is Quaker Boy with Dick Kirby, and he actually had a video where he completed a Grand Slam with a pistol, and it was a 44 Magnum, it's a Ruger, and it's a single projectile bullet. It's not shot or anything like that. Yeah. And he would either shoot him in the head or neck. And I thought, when I saw that video, I thought, man, that is really cool. I mean, because he's laying on logs and they're coming up to him. I mean, he did shoot the one in Florida. He shot out of kind of a makeshift blind. You know, that was before the pop-up blinds and stuff. Yeah. But all the rest of them, he actually shot either off a log or something like that. And I don't know, that kind of stuck in my mind. And I thought, I want to try that sometime. And So I wanted to replicate pretty much as close as I could to what he did. And he went to Florida first, and then he went to Texas, and he actually went to South Dakota.
It is right there.
But they don't have you can't use a pistol in South Dakota. Well, I guess considered a rifle, a single projectile bullet like that. So I'm going to have to go to Wyoming for that one. And then he finished up with his Eastern in West Virginia. So that'll be my last state, hopefully, if I can get and I'm not set out to have to do it in 1 year, because it's going to be pretty tough. I shot several times at an Osceola. Oh, I'd love to. Yeah, that'd be really cool. But I figured out in Florida, it's going to be a tough challenge. So,
hey, our commissioner here, good friend of ours, just a wonderful guy. Rich Storm says, Billy, we're proud you are Kentuckian. We appreciate you, and we are always rooting for your next adventure. So that's pretty cool.
Oh,
good stuff.
Yeah. And listen, Billy is
appreciate
one
that.
guy. We could have 10 people on the show, and 9 of them, I could find someone to say something bad about them. But the one guy that I've never had anyone say anything bad about is Billy Barnett. That's the God's honest truth. Mike can attest to that.
Yes,
Mike.
Go
now, we have some people on, and they're like, why'd you have that guy on? But not Billy, though. Not Billy. Everybody likes Billy. So
I appreciate that.
I would imagine, Billy, there's
appreciate you guys having me on.
Absolutely, dude.
Love talking to you, man.
It's open.
Yeah,
no, he was supposed to be on last week, and we had conflicting schedules, so we got you on. I was going to ask every Tuesday until he could come on. So, I would imagine there's a lot of states that don't allow the single projectile. Am I right?
There's a whole lot of them. That was another thing I was kind of worried about is if once I got to this point, if these other states are going to start following suit and cancel the rifle, and wouldn't be able to finish this. So all the states that I'm wanting to go to, I've got them on the list this year, so I want to try to do it. And if not, I'll just have to go back. So
yeah, and there's no shame in that, but we do have high expectations, Billy. So
no pressure, right?
Let's see this. This says John Davis turkey had about 10 ticks on its breast until the feathers, small young pinhead ticks. Is that John Davis' dad? Is he on here? Maybe, I don't know. If he is, I hope he got to see it. This guy says this might be Barrett Kegley. He's a big bow guy. It is Barrett. It's not Garrett. It's Barrett, right? Barrett. I said Barrett Kegley. I was like, maybe I feel like I said that wrong. I know I didn't. A bow slam, Billy. What about completing it with a bow?
I've thought about that. Yeah, I guess I'm kind of taking it in steps. I actually I didn't even complete my first Grand Slam until 2016. So,
okay.
That's kind of what fueled the fire on wanting to take off. I told you guys before about going after all the other states. So, eventually, I think I would like to go to Canada and hunt a little bit and try to get a slam up there and, venture out and do other stuff like that. I enjoy the new quest, I guess you could say. I guess that's why I liked going to new states because, you never know what you're going to get into. I mean, it's just a brand new hunt and a brand new place. So,
well, and there's probably a lot of states like Kentucky where if you're hunting a turkey, and this is for people outside of Kentucky, even some that's inside Kentucky never really travel much. If you're hunting a Kentucky, if you're hunting a turkey in Western Kentucky, that's hard to say. And then you travel to hunt a turkey in far Eastern Kentucky, that's like two way different hunts, like completely different hunts. So I'm sure that, even if you're going back to these states or doing, I mean, there's ways you can, mix it up from a running gun to a setting deer hunt them to mountains to fields to, whatever.
Yeah, I think a cool quest. I've thought about this, but I'm probably too old to go after it now. Maybe one of those younger boys you had on might be able to do this. But I think it'd be neat to go after and get a turkey in every county in the state of Kentucky. That would be a pretty cool quest.
That would be fun.
Now you hear some people talk. There ain't no turkeys left in some counties, Billy. They say there ain't none.
Yeah,
I don't think that's true, but I don't think that's true. Hey, Billy, I already know the answer to this. I believe. Because I think you've been asked this a million times. Mike, do you know the answer to this?
I'm trying to remember, frankly.
Let's let Mike guess. So James Evans says, what was his favorite state to hunt? Mike, what do you guess his favorite state to hunt was? Out of 49, and it can't be Alaska.
Dang.
Come on, Mike. The Jeopardy clock is on.
I'm wanting to say it's a Western state. I'm thinking I'm going to just say Wyoming.
Wyoming. Billy, what's your favorite state to hunt?
Well, the reason it took him so long to answer that is because it takes me a while to answer it too. Now, as far as just a vacation and getting out of town, Hawaii was probably my favorite.
I do remember us talking about that.
So it is a western state.
Yeah, it's such a unique state. I mean, it's like you're going to a different country.
Yeah, that's cool.
Walking on volcanoes and stuff. I mean, that was pretty. I mean, you never experienced that anywhere else. But
Billy, this shot. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, buddy.
Okay.
This is one of the things that absolutely shocked me, and I wanted everybody else to hear this. We were talking at NWTF convention, and you told me that you get 3 turkey tags in Hawaii.
You do.
That's amazing.
So they got a lot of birds.
Yeah, there was quite a few birds. They're mostly on private. I did hunt public there, and there's plenty of birds on the public land. Yeah. There's a lot of land to hunt on. you can go all the way up to 8,000 or 9,000 feet and hunt them if you want to, and
Wow.
you're literally above the clouds. I mean, you can be hunting in the snow, or you can go down on the bottom, and it's 75 degrees. So
wow,
it's
that's amazing.
It's a pretty cool place.
What kind of turkeys do they have in Hawaii? I have no idea.
They are Rios, and they actually brought them in from Texas.
Oh, okay. You've told me that before. Yeah.
Wow.
Really cool.
That's amazing.
Outside of Kentucky, you can't say Kentucky. If you're hunting an eastern bird, what's your favorite state to hunt eastern birds in? There's a lot of good options, and some are not so good anymore.
I would have to say Kentucky if you let me have that option.
No, Billy, I see you're cheating.
Kentucky or Tennessee, I guess.
Yeah.
But probably just because it's such a close state to run to. You know, I usually hunt it. Well, I was hunting it about every single season. So, Tennessee's been pretty good to me.
Yeah. Yeah, they, I've seen a lot of people, and it's just I've stayed out of the conversation because, when I was younger, I liked to argue a lot. And now I try not to do that. And so, unless it's me and Mike talking about sports, we argue all the time. We just did last night actually through text.
We have friendly conversation.
It's all love. All love.
Yeah.
But I've seen a lot of people say, like, when's Kentucky going to take steps to protect our turkeys like other states? And I'm like, well, Tennessee went from 4 birds to 2, and they still have a longer season. So we've not made any changes. We still have a more conservative hunting season than Tennessee. So everybody's like, oh, Tennessee's doing this. Well, they're still not as conservative as we are for birds. So, I just want to say shove it, but I ain't going to, Billy. I ain't going to tell them that.
I personally, I am glad they lowered their limit to 2 birds there.
No, I think it's
my
good.
personal opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think any state should have a more than a 2-bird limit in the springtime. That's just my personal opinion on it. I think 2 is plenty for anybody. If you're fortunate enough to kill 2 birds in your home state or in a single state, I think that I'm totally satisfied with it. I'm happy if I kill 1, but it is nice to have the opportunity to keep hunting if you're, have one more tag if you're out of state. But
right. I'm just
a lot of states.
Yeah, my point is, they were overdoing it, and now they finally come back to kind of normal. You know what I mean? Like Kentucky's been doing a good job for a long time, keeping the conservative bag limit, conservative season length. Everybody else is like catching up now. You know what I'm saying? That's what that was kind of.
I do.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think our season framework is like, it's where it should be. They've done a good job of really making sure we're not starting too early, or we're not, disturbing, the birds early on as it late March or early April as far as like heavy pressure is, youth weekend. There's a little bit of pressure, but not an enormous amount like regular season would be. Yeah. I really I think our season framework is excellent. I think the 2-bird limit, we've been on that for quite some time now, and it seems to be where everyone else is moving their stuff to be. So it's almost like they're wanting to mirror what Kentucky has done, which is awesome. That means we're doing something, right? That's exciting.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. I had a question here, Billy. If you see one, jump in there.
Okay.
Oh, so John Allen is watching. He said this is John Davis' dad. Now, I bet you've never had a question all the way from England, Billy, but this is one all the way from England. My light keeps going off here. Says, what's the heaviest bird, longest beard, longest spur? So what's the biggest trophy, basically, that you've had, Billy? What's one that sticks out?
Oh, gosh. Probably the thickest bearded turkey I've ever killed came from Iowa. Not only they had big bucks, but the birds, and it weighed like right at 20. It was almost 27 pounds.
Oh, wow.
It was a monster. Now his spurs were not that long.
We got a scammer in here. Southern Car Mondel. Get out of here, Mondel. How can I kick this guy out? Mike, can you do it? Guys, don't, whatever Mondel here is saying, don't click on it. He's going to hack your Facebook. It has a picture of a man there, but it's probably somebody from not England, but from across the way. See, when you have celebrities like Billy on, you have people trying to take advantage of it and steal your identity. Thanks, Bub. Bub reported him. So 26 pounds that's huge.
Yeah. We've killed some big birds here. A friend of mine, we hunted here, actually in Casey County.
Yeah.
And we doubled one morning, and we had 2 birds that actually combined weight was over 50 pounds for both of them.
That's crazy.
That was really crazy.
Now, tell me, my geography's not great. If I'm at Lake Cumberland, Casey County's to my west, like directly west of Somerset, that way?
Kind of north, yeah,
North?
a little bit. If you go up to, I guess, Lincoln County, Stanford, kind of.
Okay, yeah. I used to fish up there in Cedar Creek all the time. Yeah. Did you kick that guy out, Mike?
I'm doing my best.
Daggone it. Oh, hold on. I think I can ban him right here. Ban this user from your page. He is banned. There we go. All right. We are successful. Listen, at least he just topped that, Billy, because we've had some people get in here and say some things that will turn your face red. That we're like, oh my God, what is going on? What is going on?
Well, it's crazy. We'll start talking about hunting.
Jeremy Meyer said he clicked on the link and got 2 free turkey calls.
It's not a scam.
Oh, that's funny. It's probably Jeremy posing as that, trying to give away some gooserback calls right there. Bub reported him. Bub, thanks for reporting him, Bub. I'm going to ask the question that you had. Bub works in Ohio a lot, and he killed a deer in Ohio last year, and he wants to know what's the turkey hunting like on public land in Ohio.
That was a state that I had to make multiple trips to.
No.
Yeah, I hate to say that.
We're just going to say always tough. We're just going to say if Billy had to make multiple trips, Bub, just don't even waste your money on the license.
No,
I'm kidding.
Yeah, it was a I started there early in the season, and there's a lot of pressure and stuff. And I came close a time or two. I mean, just it's just hunting. That's the way it went. Yeah. So,
is it similar to Kentucky? As far as like the terrain you're hunting and the? I mean, I know a lot of. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of, especially southeastern Ohio is very similar to eastern Kentucky. But did it remind you of that? Like, it's similar. Are you doing similar things there, similar setups and whatnot?
It was like rolling hills where I was in creek bottoms. There was some agriculture there, some cornfields, stuff like that. It had a good mixture of everything, and it's similar to Kentucky. You can travel to different parts of it. You can get into, I hunted some parts that were kind of swampy, up around Cleveland. Up in there, it was more of like a waterfowl refuge, next to a waterfowl refuge where I hunted there. So, yeah, you can get into different types of, and there's a lot of states that are like that close to us that have different terrains and stuff. Kind of cool.
He said he'll be hunting Jockey Hollow WMA. It's an old strip mines, and he's an Eastern Kentucky guy, so he's used to those old strip mines anyway. So, hey, Daniel Turner, we talked about the 44 Magnum. He said he loves the bottomland camo. It's sharp. It is. I'll second that. It is a really nice looking gun. Tell us about it. I mean, if I remember correctly, you were crawling on your belly to get to that bird and just had a good shot with the 44.
The night before, the afternoon before, this bird came out, and a buddy of mine went with me, like I said, and he was doing the filming, and we were just sitting in a cedar tree and had a little lane cut out, had a decoy about 10 yards away, and this bird would not come in, and he kept coming through this field, and he would walk back and forth, and he was probably 40 or 50 yards out from us, and he crossed this fence. There's a fence out in the middle of that field, and he crossed. I counted how many spans it was from the post, the very end post, and every time he would cross either in the 5th span or the 4th span. And I told my buddy, I said, man, when he walks out of here, I said, let's get back out of here, there's a ditch going up to that fence. I said, I think I can crawl out through that ditch and get out there and catch him coming back because he's going to cross right there again. And I actually got out there and crawled about halfway. Didn't realize the water was as deep as it was. And so I was kind of up a little bit crawling.
Yeah, you're like a Navy SEAL navigating that water through there.
I felt like it.
You put the 44 in your mouth and you're just kind of trudging along. Yeah.
But I saw it. I don't know if he kind of heard me coming through the water or what, but he was all the way in the back of that field, and here he came. And I mean, there was no cover or anything, and I just kind of got down and I was free-handing off, and just kind of had it up like this. And he came in, and I shot 3 times, and he didn't know what was going on and never did hit him. He was probably about 20 yards, and I felt comfortable shooting that. That's what I practiced at.
Yeah.
But, I was on a bench, and I had everything just right, and it made a huge difference. So the next morning, there was a couple more gobblers that actually were around there, too. And the next morning, I made me a little spot out there laying right in that ditch. I put my turkey vest right in front of me. I had my gun laid up on my turkey vest, had a really good rest. And I put that decoy about 9 steps right in front of me. I put a hen out, and he was roosted right in the back of that field, and he came right down and came in. And I hate to say it, but I actually missed the first time again. And he left, and the guy that I was hunting on, he said, man, take your shotgun and at least get you a bird before you go back home. Yeah. And I wasn't going to take it. And I thought, well, I do hate to go home empty-handed. I'd like to get one bird anyway.
Right.
And I had it laying right beside me. And when he went away from me, I picked that shotgun up. And I thought, all right. And he was kind of in line with my decoy. And I leaned back out and looked around the decoy, and he was coming back. And I put the shotgun back down. I said, man, you're going to have to wait till next year if you do this, or if you don't do this. So I took as steady aim as I could. And he came back about 9 steps. And, I shot him right below the wattles is where I aimed that time. So and he went right down. So
hey, missing is not fun, but it made for an exciting hunt.
Oh, it was. Oh man, I was so excited, but I was talking to myself the whole time.
Yeah.
I mean, just it doesn't take anything at all to make that pistol, shoot off. So even squeezing the trigger, I mean, you're pulling it a little bit. So
yeah, I don't know if I could ever hit it. I don't think I could. I better stick to
you can do it. It's
hey, Scott Butler said he's here and his 17-month-old grandson did not get a turkey this weekend. I saw Scott commenting on some of that, I think. Or I don't know if he commented directly, but he's like, yeah, I'm going to take my 1-year-old or something like that. So, and then Tennessee Bassmaster, he's always on the fishing show we do on Thursdays. He's lying here. He says he can't afford to hunt, but it's because he spends so much money on fishing gear. So it's not the complete truth there. How close? Daniel says it's the Wild Wild West, Billy style. Billy's a gunslinger out there. Chris says, how close is too close? Now, we heard Mike and I was with when we went out and visited Harold Knight, he was talking about reaping turkeys, and he said that he and Michael Waddell got so close to them reaping them that they were missing them.
Mm-hmm.
They were just a few steps away. And I'm guessing Chris may be talking about with the 44, but what is there such thing as too close?
Not anymore. I figured that out real quick.
Yeah.
My next trip with the pistol is Texas, and that'll be about the middle part of April. It'll be the week of our Kentucky's opens, the end of that week. And I'm probably going to set up at least 9. I want to set a decoy probably about 9 yards or 9 steps away.
Yeah.
And depending on where the setup, I might even put it closer. So.
Yeah. That 44. I mean, if you're wanting to do that, obviously you said you like new adventures, but I can't imagine many people just being able to go out there and consistently get it done with that. It would be so tempting just to have your shotgun and be like, man, forget this.
Oh yeah.
And grab it.
Yeah. It's too late now. I want to keep going until I get it.
Oh yeah, you should. Yeah. Sure, you should. Absolutely. How many turkeys have you killed, Billy? Have you kept count?
Quite a few. Yeah. I've got them all. It's I've kind of kept a spreadsheet on all of it with the dates, and I tried to keep up with all the weights and beard length, spurs, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That'd be a good post. Like, what's the total inches? If you've got an Excel spreadsheet, you can just highlight and hit total sum of beards. I mean, you probably got enough beard length to travel across the country there. You add it all up.
I don't know. I might figure that up sometime.
That'll be fun to find out, though.
So, do you want to share the total number of turkeys you've killed, or is that a secret? Are you withholding
I'd
that
probably
for?
not.
Okay. Yeah, but it's a lot. It's it's funny because what if I give you a number and I say over this number? Would you say yes or no?
I'd rather not.
Oh, okay. You know, Billy, I like you so much. I'm not gonna push it. I'm not gonna push it. Well, listen. I mean, we're wrapping up here, but Mike, you got anything? Mike is other than Billy, Mike's the turkey huntingest guy I know. So, Mike, what are your thoughts on this? Obviously I'll just knock something off my table here. Obviously, the number one thing, Billy, is we want you to be safe. So we hope that everything goes well for you, all the traveling and whatnot. But then we just want you to absolutely get to slaying turkeys. So, Mike, you got anything here to round us out?
Billy, have you ever considered trying to get a hunt on Facebook Live and just film it on Facebook Live? I would love to follow that.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Turkey Hunt USA.
Yeah, get on that Facebook page and go live from it. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I did get my pistol bird in Florida on film, and what I think I would like to do with that, if I can complete the other three, I want to make a series and leading into next year as turkey season. Every week I'll release one of those, and
that's cool.
Facebook Live, that would be different.
I don't know if the service.
I don't think I'd want to be on the gun. I'll tell you that. That'd be a lot of pressure on you.
It would be a lot of pressure, wouldn't it?
I don't know. I don't know if you'd be able to get away with that. I don't think you would. I think that'd be a good way to get your page shut down.
Well, I've seen. So. I mean, the Drury Outdoors people, they do it all the time. I think now. I think that's like their thing, isn't it?
Before the shot.
The whole thing.
During the shot.
Yeah, the whole thing. They shoot it live. I'm pretty sure.
I've seen duck hunting on there live.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Real quick, Billy, what is your favorite Northeast state to hunt?
They're all of those New England states. I enjoyed every one of them. Maine, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Vermont is a beautiful state. New Hampshire, any of those, New York. I mean, you can't go wrong in any of them. I mean,
that's cool.
I found birds everywhere I went. I mean,
that's cool.
The only thing there's one thing I don't care about, and it's a time limit on states, and I hate having to quit at 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock. Where I was at in Alabama this weekend, it was public land, and they changed it to a cutoff at 1 o'clock.
What's the purpose? I never understood. I'm not been hunting too long. What's the purpose of that?
Kentucky used to do it. I remember when the season first opened here in this county, it had a cutoff too.
Yeah.
And I think it was so the birds. Well, I'm not a biologist or anything on that, but I believe what I've heard before. That it's you don't harass the birds in the afternoon. They go roost where they want to. Maybe they're nesting. They kind of keeps down activity in the woods in the afternoons, I guess. That's what I've heard before. Hens. You've always heard hens are leaving their gobblers in the afternoon. Maybe it keeps them from bothering them on the nest. I don't know, but
that's what Gordy says. So you don't push hens off the nest.
So, but I don't like hunting like that, because if I'm ever in a state that has a time limit, I don't want to worry about what time it is or looking at my phone all the time, because it actually makes me hunt different. I feel like I'm rushed the whole time, and I don't like to do that.
Yeah.
And or if you get finished, it's 1 o'clock and you got to quit. What are you going to do the rest of the day when you're in Missouri or wherever?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Now, WO says, what's the most states you've hunted in a single year? I know those New England states up there, you were able to kind of knock those off the list quickly because they're so small and close together.
That's what I knocked off that year. I think I actually hunted also. I went back to Florida that year. That was a repeat. Tennessee, Kentucky. So at least 17. So.
And then you've killed what? You've killed birds in what, 3 states in one day?
No, 2 states is the most I've ever done in one day. I think I've done that a couple times. I know Pennsylvania and Ohio, I got those 2 in the same. Connecticut and Maine, I got those 2 in the same day.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Washington and Oregon, I got those 2 in the same day.
That makes for a great trip. Like, when you can double up like that, you're saving money, you're saving time. I mean, gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Sometimes you get on a roll. I mean, sometimes you hit roadblocks too. I mean, that trip going up in the New England states, I mean, I struck out. I hit Ohio first. I hit Pennsylvania first. I hunted Connecticut first, and I struck out in all 3 of those states before I actually got going. So
that puts
got them on the way back.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah.
PK says, "What is your go-to sequence when you go in blind?" I'm thinking like a blind you hunt up. So when you're going into a place for the first time, which I know you do a lot of research and you have a lot of contacts now, but if you just are out there, nothing's responding. Do you have I don't think you're a big time caller, are you? I mean, I know you're very patient. So do you have a little go-to sequence you use?
I do call, but most of the time I try to just get up on a high point or a high advantage point starting out. If I'm going in, never been there before, and usually you're going to hear a bird if it's a halfway decent day. If not, you just have to walk and call. I mean, it's about all you can do, really. So, I know this. It might sound bad, but I have done a lot of scouting from my vehicle too. And a lot of people say boots on the ground. Well, that's great, but you're in one spot. You might be spooking birds out, whatever.
Yeah.
I actually have found more birds driving around. I know in South Dakota, when I went out there, I struggled the first day, didn't have any birds at all. And I started driving around looking at new areas. Well, then I started seeing birds like crossing the roads over on private land. And then once you see those birds, it just find them. It doesn't matter if they're hens or what they are. Then you can start from there and say, all right, what's the closest public land that I can hunt from this point right here? So at least you get you in the area to, a starting point, I guess. So
that sounds like the Harold Knight School of Scouting right there. That's when we talked to Harold, that's one of the things he talked about doing at LBL when he first started turkey hunting, down at Lane Between the Lakes. He would drive and they would stop at a spot, and if they didn't hear anything, they'd jump back in the truck and keep going and go to the next spot. So that's a fascinating way. People don't really think about doing that real often, because you hear that get your butt out there and start looking around. That's what you get from folks telling you to get out there and scout. But that's a perfect way to do it, especially if you're hunting public where you've never been before.
You can drive for 15 miles in no time, but you can only walk so much in a day. And you're not, you're in one little bitty spot. And if there's not any birds in that area, you just wasted all your time. So
certainly
those guys, we've had those guys from the hunting public on a few times over the last couple of years. And that's the first thing they do when they get to they hunt familiar spots, but they go to a lot of new spots every year. And the first thing they do is drive around very slowly, just looking for deer, looking for signs, seeing what they can figure out. And I mean, they'll drive the whole WMA or whatever for the first day before they actually go in there and look for further details, I guess you'd say, further evidence. But
you can look at maps all day at home, but they don't really tell you anything until you get there. I mean, that place might be burned off. I mean, they could have wipe the whole place out and the maps aren't updated. I mean, I've seen that before. So it's you're really, I mean, you can have, I always have like a plan A, B, C, whatever I need, but I have spots that I go to. I look at them. If they're not what I think they are, I go on to the next spot. And you got to be prepared because, man, it's tough. You might get out somewhere and you don't have service. You can't look on your maps anymore. I mean, and you're not wanting to try to do it on the side of a road trying to find a place to go. So,
yeah, we when we went to Peabody opening weekend of deer season last fall, everybody there is hunting the edges of public land that back up to bean fields. That's what everybody was doing. We were doing it. People from Pennsylvania were doing it, from Florida, from Ohio. There were people from all over. We ran into a lot of them. And there was a field, a bean field out there that on Onyx was public land. And so I think it was me and PK, actually. There's PK right there. Me and PK were headed out that way, and we ran into a couple hunters who had been to it, but it was private, and the landowner was fed up. Like he had posted a bunch of stuff. He had put fencing up. Like you could tell he had went through a lot of measures because he was tired of people coming on his property to hunt. So yeah, man, you got to have, which we always go in. We usually have like plan A through F, and then we give half of those away to other people. And then, usually we're like, last one's out. But you got to have those. If you're going in blind or you're going somewhere, you better have a several plans and be ready to adjust.
Yep.
Which I'm guessing, that's what I was going to ask you earlier. And I know we're past 10, we won't keep you. But I'm guessing, I know you've talked about how patient you are and have to be, but also I guess the ability to kind of adjust on the fly. Do you think those are the two things that probably lend itself to being successful more than anything else?
Probably so. I guess when you're out of state like that, you tend to be more patient. If you're at home, you're thinking, well, boy, I need to get the yard mowed or do this or do that. When you're out of town, you don't have to be out of state. You could be out of town.
Yeah.
I think you change a little bit. You slow down and you're on a mission. That's what you're there for, is to turkey hunt or deer hunt, whatever you're doing. So I think that you maybe take it a little bit more serious when you're, out of your home range, I guess. So
you spent money, you're spending your time away from home. And so, yeah, I think you're right. And, if you're at home, well, I can just come back next weekend or I can come back tomorrow or something like that. So,
yeah, you can kind of disconnect from everything too. That's one thing I've enjoyed the most, I guess, is the freedom once I get out. Mm-hmm. I've never experienced freedom like that, take off across the country. Most of the time I was by myself, and it didn't matter. I could turn right or left or whatever I wanted to do. And that was a pretty cool feeling to be able to do that. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, Billy, dude, we really appreciate you. Tell everybody about your new podcast and where they can find that and how they can follow your journey this spring.
Okay. Yeah, thank you guys again for having me on. I appreciate it. Enjoyed talking with you.
Anytime.
Glad we got to meet in Nashville too. I enjoyed that. So
yeah, it was. We every year we meet a few people down there, and I wanted to make sure we got to see you in person and chit chat a little bit. And we appreciate you, man. We enjoy having you. So your podcast is doing great, isn't it?
Yeah, we're doing really well with it. Yeah. Had some good reviews and a lot of good comments on it, and we've enjoyed doing it. So it's just Turkey Hunting USA. We're also on Facebook, got a website, Instagram, just any of the popular social media outlets. So,
and if anybody out there is looking for turkey calls, Billy, you got some in stock?
Yep, we've stocked up on everything right now. So
there you go.
We've sold out a couple times, but we're back full stocked again. And
I don't know who I was showing the other day, and I was like, man, your packaging is just fantastic.
It is.
It just looks like, yeah, it is fantastic.
Now I have trained my wife to do the shipping. I had to teach her how to take care of this, so it might not be me packing it whenever it comes out in the next few weeks. So,
well, I'm talking about the actual case the calls come in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Everything looks great.
Turkey Hunting USA logo on there. And did you create that logo?
I actually had somebody do that for me.
I did.
I'm not an artist. I can't even paint a room. So I had another guy. We went back and forth and tweaked it.
Yeah.
And got it how we wanted it. So.
Well, listen, we hope your podcast continues to grow. You sell out of all your turkey calls, and you kill a turkey in every state you travel to this year. So,
well, thank you guys. Best of luck to you guys too, and thank you again for having
me. Maybe in the spring you can come back and tell us all about it.
Sounds good. We need to catch up and get a hunt in together.
We sure do.
That, so.
We sure do. Awesome. You just I think you might be a little busier than us. So you just let us know.
Well, I'll make some time. I'll make some time for you guys. So.
Sounds good, buddy. We sure appreciate you, Billy. Have a good night, man.
All right. Thank you,
Mike. Thank you. Everybody watching, thanks. And we'll see you. Check us out Thursday on the Bass Fishing Live show. And we'll be here next Tuesday. Next Tuesday is the Tuesday before opening weekend, right?
Yes, sir.
That'll be fun. Hey, and also we're doing turkey camp. We've got like 15 people signed up for turkey camp, Cave Run, Twin Knobs Campground. If you don't want to pay for a site at Twin Knobs, some people are sleeping in their trucks or their SUVs, or me and Mike sharing a tent. It's a small tent. We're gonna cuddle, keep it warm.
Hey, it's an 18 by 18 tent.
Oh yeah, it's a huge tent.
Oh,
so
wow.
Hey, just come stay with us. Anyway, check that out. It's on our page. But we appreciate everybody. Billy, Mike, thank you guys, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you guys.
Bye.